Ohio State couldn't ask for a better fit than Kevin Wilson to be the next offensive coordinator.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Feel Good Friday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now the number one sports podcast network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, Veggie Sports Talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. During today's show, we will discuss why I am not a fan of Ryan Day, potentially promoting somebody from within to be the next OC, as well as some traits of a good offensive coordinator candidate. But first, I am normally not a person that likes rehires, but I think in this moment, when it comes to Ohio State replacing Brian Hartline, a rehire makes a whole lot of sense. There's going to be a lot of people around the country, no matter if they're in college or in the NFL, that are trying to be the next offensive coordinator at Ohio State. It's a very prestigious position to have in the sport. You're going to be under the best coach in college football, at the best brand in college football. And so there's a lot of good reasons why somebody would apply to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. And this is one of the rare moments where a rehire makes a lot of sense. It is because of what Kevin Wilson brings to the table. Think about what Ohio State's offense was when Kevin Wilson was the offensive coordinator in Columbus from 2017 until 2022. Now, Ryan Day was in there in the beginning part of that, and then Ryan Day got promoted to head coach. Kevin Wilson was still there. And what you found from Kevin Wilson was that the offense flourished. The offense found ways to do things very well. And honestly, the running game may have been the best when Kevin Wilson was on the assistant coaching staff. When Ryan Day got promoted to head coach in 19 and 20, you saw J.K. Dobbins go off. You saw Trey Sermon when he got healthy and when he figured everything out at Ohio State. He went smooth off. Even Travion Henderson's freshman year was under Kevin Wilson's watch. Mayan Williams, when he blew up, Kevin Wilson was at Ohio State. I think there are things that Kevin Wilson brings to the table. Had coaching experience. He knows Ryan Day. He knows the Midwest. He knows what it takes to be successful at a big brand. Not only was he a successful OC at Ohio State, he was also a successful offensive coordinator at Oklahoma and even coached Sam Bradford to being the Heisman Trophy winner. And so there's a lot of things that Kevin Wilson has that I think are great for Ryan Day right now. Yes, he went back to Oklahoma. He was an offensive analyst. He got let go after a couple of years at Tulsa. And so you may say, Jay, he wasn't a good head coach. Okay. Ryan Day wouldn't be asking him to be a head coach. Ryan Day would bring him in to run the offense, to lead that side of the ball, to make it the best it can be. And I think that is what Kevin Wilson will bring to the table. And to me right now, I know he's not a hot name. I know people aren't really talking about him, and I really don't care what people are talking about. Kevin Wilson, to me, is the guy. Bring him back to Columbus. He's at an age right now where he is probably not trying to go to too many more places. He's 64 years old. He's probably trying to get one more job and then call it quits. Why not come back to Ohio State? You don't have to deal with the pressure of being a head coach like he did when he was at Indiana from 2011 to 2016 or the couple of years that he was at Tulsa. All you have to do is worry about the offense. Ryan Day is a good recruiter. Kevin Wilson is a recruiter. There are things that they do well and they mesh. And I even think that his son being at Ohio State is a massive benefit for Kevin Wilson and a selling point because he not only gets the coaching standpoint of being at Ohio State, he gets to hear what it's like from his son. So there are so many great avenues here. And I think with Ryan Day's loyalty and his desire to find somebody that he can trust wholeheartedly with the offense, Kevin Wilson's the guy. He not only had a flourishing offense in the 2000s, in that era of college football, in the BCS era, which is very intense. He's even done it in the CFP era, which is intense and maybe a little bit more stressful at times, or not as stressful, depending on who you're talking to. Bring him back to Columbus, Ohio. I would ask all of you to do something in your free time, not while you're driving or maybe running on the treadmill, but go back and look at some of the stats, the offensive numbers. So when Kevin Wilson was at Ohio State versus the past couple of years. And I think what you have found when Kevin Wilson left, Ohio State's offense slowed down. Ohio State's offense doesn't move at the same pace. They may want to say, Jay, it's because of the new clock rules and things of that nature. Maybe. Or maybe the coaches aren't able to use Kevin Wilson's brain. Chip Kelly's a great offensive mind, but man, there were times even a year ago you want Ohio State's offense to move faster because that's when they were hitting on all cylinders. This year, they're moving even slower. And I think of some of the issues that we've detailed them all week. We'll detail them up until the Cotton Bowl. They move so slow, so slow. And I think if you allow Kevin Wilson to come back and he doesn't have the stress of being a head coach, all he has to do is worry about focusing on coaching football. And he can fulfill a position role. Now, maybe, I know people have said maybe Coach Key is the new receivers coach. Great. He can be the new receivers coach. He can still be the co-OC, and you can have Kevin Wilson coach tight ends. And what did you find at Ohio State with the tight ends? Yeah, there are things you would want better from certain guys, but the tight end room was a pretty solid group. You had two strong guys at the top that could work with that 12 personnel, and they did it very well. The loyalty of Ryan Day is one reason why I think this is going to work even better than I did even when Brian Hartline left for USF, because Ryan Day's loyalty is one that maybe it could cause him to get in trouble, but it allowed him to make a phenomenal hire in 2024, bringing in Chip Kelly after Bill O'Brien left very quickly to go back to the Northeast. And I'm not mad at him. He went to get a head coaching job. It's not only more money. There are reports that there were some family medical issues, that their doctor was in the northeastern portion of the country, so it made sense for him to go back to the Boston area. You go out and get Chip Kelly. He's your mentor. He's your friend. He was your coach in college. Great. It worked out very well. Very loyal man. And Ryan Day promoted Brian Hartline and made him the offensive coordinator. And you could see Ryan Day being very vocal in the play calling process. I don't think Ryan Day would be doing that if Kevin Wilson was in Columbus, Ohio. I don't. You could fully trust him. Ryan Day could talk to the guys on defense when they come off the field to kind of figure out what's going on there and make sure that everybody's on the same page. He can kind of take a step back, allow the offense to be ran by one man, the defense to be ran by another, and Ryan Day is truly the CEO of the football team. And I know I said something earlier, and I'm going to say it again and close out this segment. I am not a big fan of rehires at all. Because normally when someone leaves, they leave for a reason. If you try to bring them back, it might not go the way that you want it to go. So I'm going against my own conventional wisdom and my own philosophy, similar to the quarterback situation at Ohio State, where I detailed that. I think it was on Wednesday or Thursday show, where I detailed some things about the quarterback position in short yardage situations, that maybe it's best to put Lincoln Kinholz in and allow him to use his body and allow him to get those short yardage situations to allow Julian to not take those hits. I'm trying to change my philosophy, which is hard for me to do. It's hard for me to do it with the coaching hires, but this one makes too much sense. Ryan Day, bring Kevin Wilson back to Columbus. He's not an OC right now. He's not a head coach. He's an analyst, and most analysts are only there for 1 year, then they go find another job. Why not bring that man back to Columbus, Ohio, allow him to coach in Columbus for a few more years, allow him to retire, and then go off and live his life away from coaching football? It makes too much sense for Ryan Day to not make this a reality. Speaking of making this a reality, there are some traits that a good offensive coordinator candidate should have. We will dive into those after the break. This episode is brought to you by REHIRE Ready. Let's talk about something most men don't bring up, but absolutely should. Stress from work, money, life. It doesn't just switch off at night. And when it shows up at the worst possible time, REHIRE Ready is designed to help you take back control. Rougier Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment created to support both the brain and the body so you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters. Rougier Ready combines three clinically proven ingredients in one mint that dissolves under your tongue so it absorbs fast. The science behind Rougier Ready stands out. Three clinically proven ingredients in one formula designed for both mental and physical readiness. You connect to the board certified doctor online, and everything ships discreetly to your door. If you've been thinking about taking the next step, now's the time. Head to rougiet.com/lockedoncollege. That's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rougier Ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. This episode is also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scorers, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit fanduel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the number one sports podcast network. If you're a true diehard Buckeyes fan, the Everyday or All Access tier is built for you. You'll get one-on-one text access with me, all access episodes, an exclusive newsletter, and a 15% discount to the Locked On merch store. Head to lockedonbuckeyes.supercast.com. Once again, head to lockedonbuckeyes.supercast.com to join the Everydayer Club and unlock all access. You can find the link in the show notes. And speaking of finding links and finding ways to make things better in our lives, one thing Ryan Day must do is narrow down the details, the qualities, that's the word, that he wants the ideal candidate to be the next offensive coordinator at Ohio State to have. And he may have a list of 20, he may have a list of 30, but he must make sure that whoever he hires fits every quality. We have been places, I am sure, where we are trying to decide between a couple of options, and we have our list of things that we must get checked off. All of a sudden, we think we have everything checked off. We don't have all of them checked off, and we make the wrong decision. Ryan Day can't afford to make the wrong decision. He can't at all. You're at the Ohio State University. It is a big boy brand. It is the best brand in the country. He's the best coach in the country, and so he can't afford to miss. I think one of the best qualities that the ideal offensive coordinator can have or should have, he must be a former head coach. And I'm not saying he has to be a failed head coach, but he has to be a former head coach, which ties into Kevin Wilson and why I mentioned him earlier. Kevin Wilson was a head coach at Indiana from 2011 until 2016, and then he coached a couple of years at Tulsa in 2023 and 2024. Before that, he also had some Midwest ties, coaching at Miami of Ohio from 1990 until 1998, at Northwestern from 1999 until 2001, and then at Indiana and Ohio State from 2011 until 2022. So there's some region that he fits the region, but also he is not trying to move around at all. He's trying to find a spot and stick there. Even when he was in Oklahoma, he was in Oklahoma from 2002 until 2010. So not only does the ideal candidate need to be a former head coach, you want to find somebody that wants to stick around for a little bit. And I think when he found Matt Patricia, he had former head coaching experience being with the Detroit Lions, but also I don't get the feeling from Patricia that he's trying to be a coach moving around a long time. Anytime I see him with his family and I see the other coaches with their families, it reminds me that Ohio State is not only a place where a coach can be great, but it's a place where a coach and his family can hunker down and love life in Columbus, Ohio. One of the fastest growing cities in America is in Ohio. And the fact that a guy in Patricia comes in, instantly falls in love with the job, with the place, and everything falls in place for him, the same thing can happen for the next individual. And Kevin Wilson is older, he's in his mid 60s, but those qualities are big. Find a guy that's been around for a while, that's had a track record of success. If he has it in multiple decades, that's great. That's not a quality that I think that person needs to have. But the head coach experience is one thing. A person that knows a region, so they can recruit a region. Maybe you know the South Florida, or maybe you know Texas, or maybe you know Cali, whatever the case may be. Know an area of the country where you can recruit. You have to do that. You got to be a recruiter too. You can't, Ryan Day cannot afford to bring in another coordinator that isn't a recruiter. It was fortunate that the Jim Knowles hire worked out the way that it did because there were assistant coaches that literally picked up the slack in areas that Jim Knowles was not the kind of recruiter that you would want to have at Ohio State, because recruiting is a must. It's an absolute must. It's a premium for every coach to recruit. So you got to be a former head coach. You also, I don't know how this glossed over my brain, you got to have play calling experience. And Kevin Wilson got that. I believe it started in 2006 when he was at Oklahoma. There was a coach, Mangini. There was a few coaches there in Oklahoma while he was there that were calling plays, and then he got his chance in 2006, and that was when the Sam Bradford blew up and he won the Heisman Trophy. But you got to have somebody that can have play calling experience. So Ryan Day doesn't have to do that. And I think this year, what you're finding from Ryan Day is, yes, Hartline is calling plays, but Ryan Day's not only veto power, but his desire to be inside the play calling process, I think it's messing up the offense at times. And it's not saying Day is a problem. Too many voices. We talked about it on the show recently. Too many voices on a project. Too many heads and brains trying to work together could literally lead to disaster. And I think when it comes to the next OC, you don't want Ryan Day to be double dipping or trying to have a play sheet and trying to call plays with the OC. No, let that man handle that job. You hired him for that. You hired him to come in to run the offense and let him do it, which goes into Ryan Day's loyalty. I think Ryan Day is, and I understand it, it is tough to give up something you are so good at to somebody else, especially that person, someone that has not done that before. It's very, very difficult. So it's not a knock on Brian Hartline. It is more Ryan Day saying, this is my baby. This is how I made my name. This is why people look at me at Ohio State and think, man, the offense is flourishing, and it's flourishing because of Ryan Day, what Ryan Day has done. Nobody's looked at Brian Hartline and says he's a great offensive mind. And that's not a problem. He hasn't had the amount of time leading an offense to have that be a part of his resume. Maybe it will be down the road. It's not there right now. It's on Ryan Day's resume. And so I understand why Ryan Day is so stubborn to not give up play calling 100% to somebody else. I get it. But with the next hire, you must allow that person to be able to do it. But also, last thing on my list, he has to have success, previous success at a big program. Now, it could be as a head coach, it could be as an assistant, but you have to have success at a big program previously. And now you can even take somebody like a Patricia, success at a big franchise in the National Football League, where he did for the Patriots. And so you have to have success at a big franchise, or in what big franchise, we're all big in the NFL, or a big program in college football. Previously at Oklahoma, he had success also at Ohio State, two big programs in college football. Patricia had the success in New England. These are things that new OC, the quality and the traits that that person must have. Because if they don't, we might be on this show discussing why the hire doesn't make sense, why maybe Ryan Day made a mistake, because you can't miss on this hire. You cannot. Look at all the players on this team. Look, you have a Heisman finalist. You have three of the top 10 Heisman finalists, or three of the top 10 players in Heisman voting, or on Ohio State's roster, and Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Smith, and Julian Sayin. Two of those guys are on offense. Two of those guys are guys that the new OC will be working with every single day. Had coaching experience, play calling experience, success, play calling experience, being a recruiter in a region, you know a region very well, a track record of success, but then also success at a big program or franchise if you're looking at someone coming from the NFL. If you come from the CFL, I'd be cool with that too. But you got to have success there. Wherever you're coming from or where you have been, you must have had previous success along the journey, because if you don't, it could lead to Ryan Day making the wrong hire. Speaking of making the wrong hire, there is one move that I believe if Ryan Day makes it, it would be the wrong decision to make. We will discuss what that is after the break. This episode is brought to you by Aura Frames. The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is a gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap, it's a way to share memories. Because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it, so when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. Who would you gift this to? Grandparents, parents, newlyweds, anyone who loves photos. Endless uploads of pictures and 30-second videos through the Aura app. Add a personalized message right inside the frame so the gift feels thoughtful the moment it's open. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames named #1 by Wirecutter by using promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's AURA frames.com. Promo code COLLEGE. This deal is exclusive to listeners and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. So we have gone through the Kevin Wilson potential rehire and why it makes too much sense for Ryan Day to not make that move, and also why there are some key qualities for the ideal candidate and the things that the person must have on their resume. But there are certain things, or there's one area that I think Ryan Day might be leaning, and I don't know if it's the right decision for him to make. There are current coaches on the coaching staff that Ryan Day is pretty comfortable with. That Ryan, one recently was hired this past offseason. The other has been at Ohio State for quite a long time, recently moved up the chain, and is now the co-offensive coordinator at Ohio State. It would be very easy for Ryan Day to promote Tyler Bowen to OC or to promote Coach Keenan Bailey, that is, to offensive coordinator as well. I don't have a good feeling that an internal promotion is correct, because if we go back to the last segment, there is one quality that I discussed that neither one of these individuals have. Neither one of them have head coaching experience, which immediately rules them out. Now, for Tyler Bowen, he would be the only one that I would consider, because Coach Key is still moving up. He is kind of where Hartline was a few years ago when Hartline first went from being a staffer, I think it was a quality control coach, to being the full-time wide receivers coach. Hartline had to work his way up the chain too, similar to Keenan Bailey. Tyler Bowen did as well. He was a student assistant at Maryland. He was a grad assistant for a couple of years at Maryland as well. Tight ends coach, went back to being a grad assistant. So it wasn't like Tyler Bowen has just been there just as an offensive coordinator for a long time. No, he had to work his way up at multiple stops along the way. And there's one thing about Tyler Bowen that I think makes him a better candidate than Coach Key. Tyler Bowen's been an OC before at multiple places. An offensive coordinator at Virginia Tech. He was an offensive coordinator at Penn State. He was an offensive recruiting coordinator at Penn State as well. So that ties into the recruiting aspect that you need to have from your new OC. But not having the head coaching experience, that doesn't sit well with me. And it shouldn't sit well with Ryan Day either. I'm not Ryan Day, but if I'm thinking about Ryan Day's list of things, he showed, even last year when he brought in Chip Kelly, when you made a hire from outside to be the offensive coordinator and the play caller, that head coach experience matters, because you're going to be the head coach of that side of the ball. And not only if you're a coordinator, cool, but when you're running the whole program, it's a little bit different. You have a lot more people to handle. Ryan Day said with Matt Patricia, he doesn't really have to deal with that side of the ball a lot because Matt Patricia handles it. And Ryan Day praises Matty P for how he handles that side of the ball. Offense still needs some attention. It still needs some polishing. It still needs to work on the execution in key moments of games, which is why Ryan Day puts so much time and energy, effort on that side of the ball. If you ever hit a guy that has previous head coaching experience that knows what it's like to have to deal with so many different things and be pulled every which way, that's going to allow Ryan Day to be a better CEO and head coach of the program. Because think about what you're dealing with right now if you're Ryan Day. You're trying to prepare for a bowl game against Miami or Texas A&M, so you're trying to get a game plan for both. Also, you're doing a lot of the offensive coordinator duties because your OC is now playing double duty and wearing two hats because he's now down in Tampa working with his new team because he was recently hired to be the head coach of the USF Bulls. Also, you just got done with your signing class. You spent a couple extra days working trying to secure Chris Henry Jr. and you had to do it. You absolutely had to, and you secured the recruit, which was huge for Ohio State's receiving core moving forward. But also, you got the portal coming up. What's after that? You got spring practice coming up. You got winter workouts coming up. He has so much stuff to deal with. Oh, you got to hire another offensive coordinator. You just had one of your assistant offensive line coaches go off and get a coaching job, and so you got to fill that spot. There's so much on Ryan Day's plate right now, and those are just the things off the top of my head. I guarantee if we put a list of things that Ryan Day is going through right now, it would be lengthy. And I got a couple notebooks to my left. I got a sheet of paper that's not in the notebook also to my left. And I guarantee you we could fill up a lot of paper if we try to dive into some of the things that Ryan Day is currently doing right now while preparing for the Cotton Bowl. It's a lot. His job is never ending. His task of being a head coach is the to-do list is never empty. There's always something to do. And you got to make sure with this hire, you find the right person. I'm not saying that Coach Key or Tyler Bowen will do a bad job. I just think not having a previous head coaching experience is a problem, and it should not happen. He made the internal promotion with Brian Hartline. It was kind of the trajectory and the path of Hartline's career, and Ryan Day detailed that, and I'm with it. At some point, if you have had that kind of success and the opening is there, you promote that man, and you did it. But Ohio State's not the job for on-the-job training. I think Hartline did a pretty good job. I wouldn't say he did a great job. He did a pretty good job, a decent job with leading the offense. He might become a great offensive mind down there at USF. I have no idea. I don't have an idea. He could even be the future head coach of Ohio State. Buddy, I have no idea. I do know this. An internal promotion, once again, to be the OC, shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen at all. Coach Key, stay with the tight ends. Tyler Bowen, stay with the offensive linemen. Both y'all have some tweaks to do with the players in your rooms. Trust me. Tight ends, Will Kazmarek should have played more. I haven't said that much on this show. Will Kazmarek should have played more. Bennett Christian, Johnny Thurman, Nate Roberts should have played a whole lot less. You play your top two tight ends in the room, and let everything else fall. Tyler Bowen, left side of the offensive line is great. Right side, you got some work to do. Ryan Day made an internal promotion before the 2025 season. I don't see him doing it before the 2026 college football season. Thank y'all for tapping in Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On Buckeyes so you get all the latest episodes. They'll Locked On Buckeyes make your Spotify Wrapped. Prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform and we'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to members-only Discord channel. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 national Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen, Locked On College Football. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317 at gmail.com. This has been Locked On Buckeyes on a Friday. We'll see you next time.